Okay, now we have a transformed exponential function. So our asymptote is always the k, which in this case is our -5. So y equals -5. Our b value is 2, which is more than 1, so we have a growth. Our y-intercept is when x is 0. So we have 1/2 raised to the 2 to the third minus 5. 2 to the third is 8. 1/2 of 8 is 4. Minus 5 gives me 0, -1. So now let's do a quick sketch. Asymptote down here, y equals -5, and our y-intercept 0, -1, and it is a growth. So this is going to help us, especially with our end behavior. Domain, all real numbers. Range goes down to the -5 without touching, and then it goes infinitely up as x goes left on the graph. F of x goes down toward -5 as x goes right on the graph. F of x goes forever up. When we do our order of transformation, it's just like order of operations. So we are going to look at the exponent part first. So we're going to do this first. So x plus 3, we think the opposite, counterintuitive. We usually would think that means plus 3 would go to the right, but in this case, we go to the left. So we're going to say 3 left. Then we look at the a value. We talk about the value, whether it's been stretched or compressed. This has been vertically compressed down to the x-axis. So we're going to say a vertical compression or shrink by a factor of 1/2. Then you see if A is negative and you address that. It is not, so there's no vertical reflection. So that was step 2. Then step 3 for this one, we do the vertical movement up or down, because you always add or subtract last in order of operations. So that's what we'll address here. This is going 5 units down. So when we're talking about going up or down, it is what it is. It's minus, so that tells us negative. Okay, let's take a look at the next one. Again, we have an asymptote of y equals 4. We have a y-intercept. We're going to plug in 0 for x. We have 2 to the 1 times 1/4 to the -3. When we have a negative exponent, we reciprocate the base. We have 4 times 4, which is 16, and 16 times 4 is going to be 64, and then 64, we'll go ahead and write that down. 2 times 64 is 128, plus 4 gives us 0, 132, so it is somewhere up here, way up. Oh, we forgot to address the b value is 1/4, therefore it's a decay. So we are going to be decreasing, and our sketch looks something like this. Domain, x can be any real number. The range goes down to 4 without touching 4 and goes forever up. This time, as we go left, the graph goes up. As we go right on the graph, the output goes toward 4, our asymptote. So let's address the x minus 3. We're going to go 3 to the right. The 2, the A being 2, is a vertical stretch. It's being stretched away from our x-axis. It's been pulled up real quickly. My A is not negative, so it is not a vertical reflection. And then lastly, it's going 4 units up. Number 7, because my A is negative, this is neither a growth nor a decay. The asymptote would be y equals -5. And when I plug in 0 for x, 0 plus 3 is 3. 2 to the third is 8. 1/2 of 8 is 4. Minus 5, I get 0, comma, -1. So I'm going to say -5 is my asymptote. 0, -1. So typically, if we did not have a negative, this would be a growth. But it is being reflected.